What we just witnessed this weekend didn't just shake up the NASCAR Cup Series. It wasn't just another win. It wasn't just another dominating performance that we'll forget about by next week. No, what happened at the Circuit of the Americas this past Sunday might have completely changed the tone of this entire 2026 season. And the wild part, that's only half the story. Because while one driver just made history in a way we have quite literally never seen before in the modern era of NASCAR, there's already tension building behind the scenes. And I am talking real tension. The kind that can turn a rivalry into something much, much bigger. The kind that can define a championship battle before we've even hit the summer months. Now, there are two major stories coming out of Austin, Texas right now. One happened on the track, and it was absolutely spectacular. The other might be brewing in the garage area, and trust me, both of them matter. Both of them matter a lot if you care about this championship battle. If you care about where this season is going, if you care about seeing history being made in real time. So before we break it all down, I need to ask you something. If you're a real NASCAR fan who lives for this stuff every single week, who wakes up on race day with their coffee and starts checking lap times and practice reports, do me a favor. Hit that like button. I know you've done it before, but let's do it again. Show me some love. And while you're at it, subscribe to NASCAR Track News if you haven't already. We're a new channel. We're pushing toward 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you who joins this community matters. We're building something real here. We're building a home for honest, passionate NASCAR talk from real fans for real fans. You're in the right place. Now let's get into it. News number one, and this is the one that's going to be talked about for years. Not just this year, not just this season. We're talking about something that hasn't been done in the history of the NASCAR Cup Series at the Circuit of the Americas. Tyler Reddick, let me say that name again. Tyler Reddick just did something no driver has ever done. Not in the modern era, not in the old school days, not ever. And I am not just talking about winning. Lots of drivers win races. What Reddick did was so much more than that. He didn't just win, and let's be clear, winning at COTA against this field is incredibly difficult, but he survived. He executed when it mattered most, and he beat the one guy that everybody thought was absolutely untouchable on a road course. The road course king, the driver who has made the technical circuits his personal playground, driving the number 45 Toyota for 23 EKI Racing, the team co-owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, two names that carry enormous weight in this sport. Tyler Reddick opened the 2026 season with wins at Daytona, at Atlanta, and now at Austin. 3 straight to start the year, 3 victories in the first 3 races. Let me say that again because I don't think we're letting it sink in properly. 3 races, 3 wins, 3 trophies. No one has ever done that. Not in the modern era, not in the old school era, nobody. This is unprecedented. And 23 XE Racing, Thayer on fire. They became the first team to win the first 3 races of a season since Petty Enterprises did it way back in 1963. Let that sink in. We're talking about a team that has been around for just a few years, that some people still question whether they can compete with the established powerhouses, and now Thayer doing something that hasn't been done in over 60 years. This is legendary stuff right here. And the craziest part, and this is what makes this story so compelling, he had to go through Shane Van Gisbergen to do it. And SVG, as we all know, is no slouch on road courses. In fact, he's arguably the best road course racer in the field today. The man has made a career of making these technical circuits look like child's play. He makes passing look easy when everyone else is struggling. He's the benchmark. He's the standard that everyone else is trying to reach. And at COTA this weekend, SVG started 13th. 13th. That doesn't sound like a recipe for dominance, does it? But this is Shane Van Gisbergen we're talking about. The man can drive through the field like nobody's business. He carved his way through the field like he always does on road courses, showing why he's considered one of the best technical drivers in the sport. By the end of stage 1, he had worked his way all the way up to 3rd place, starting 13th and finishing 3rd in the stage. That's the kind of driver we're dealing with here, and there was more drama unfolding. He and Ross Chastain had short pitted, giving up stage points for track position. Now that's a strategy move that takes guts. You're essentially saying, I don't care about these stage points right now. I want to be up front when it matters most. Ross Chastain actually won stage 1. He made that work, followed by Van Gisbergen, then Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher, AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Carson Hocevar, and Denny Hamlin. Some big names in that top 10, but the story was really about those strategy calls. And Ryan Blaney, let me tell you about Ryan Blaney. He had shown serious long-run speed early in the race. This guy has been quietly putting together some strong performances, and this weekend he was no different. He ran down Chase Briscoe and took control of the race before strategy flipped everything upside down. That's when things started getting really interesting. Stage 2, that's when it started getting chaotic. And if you thought stage 1 was exciting, hold on to your hats, because stage 2 was a whole different beast. Ryan Blaney regained the lead during the pit cycles. This is huge because pit strategy is so critical at COTA, but Van Gisbergen restarted 15th with fresher tires. Now, restarting 15th might sound like a disadvantage, but with fresher tires, you have a huge advantage over those who had to pit earlier. It's all about that grip, that traction, that ability to make passes when it matters. And Charles. Connor Zilisch spun in turn 1 after contact from Daniel Suarez. This is the kind of incident that can completely change a race. One small mistake, one momentary lapse in judgment, and suddenly you're spinning and potentially bringing out a caution. Noah Gragson spun between turns 6A and 6B. These are tricky sections of the track where so many things can go wrong. Josh Berry looped it in mid-pack but kept going, showing some impressive car control. These are the moments that separate the good drivers from the great ones. Alex Bowman got hit with a pass-through penalty for an uncontrolled tire. That's a tough break, especially when you're trying to contend for a championship. These penalties can completely derail a race, and Bowman was feeling the pain. Austin Dillon lost major time with a broken shifter. Mechanical issues are always lurking, ready to strike at any moment. You can have the fastest car on the track, but if your equipment fails, there's nothing you can do. And up front, Reich took control for the first time since starting from the pole. This was his moment. This was when he showed everyone that he wasn't just there to compete, he was there to win. But with 3 laps to go in stage 2, he pitted from the lead. Now, why would you do that? Why would you give up the lead right at the end of a stage? Because you're thinking about the big picture. You're thinking about the championship. That's a strategic gamble that not everyone has the guts to make. That allowed Ty Gibbs to win stage 2, followed by AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Suarez, Todd Gilliland, Reich, Bubba Wallace, Blaney, Cole Custer, William Byron, and Van Gisbergen. That right there, what Tyler Reich did, that's championship mindset. That's sacrifice short-term points for the long game. That's understanding that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And that decision, that gamble, it set up everything that happened in stage 3. Stage 3 is where it got intense. Stage 3 is where legends are made. Reich and Blaney were out front, battling for position, both knowing that the final laps were approaching. Van Gisbergen slotted into 5th, quietly making his way through the field like he always does. Eric Jones spun in the back but recovered. These things happen in racing, and it's all about how you respond. And then we had some fireworks. Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell were beating and banging in a heated battle inside the top 10. These two have some history, and when they get together, things get interesting. The contact, the door slamming, the refusal to give an inch, that's what racing is all about. That's the intensity we love to see. Then disaster struck for Chase Briscoe. Something broke in the rear end with 32 laps to go. He was running top 5. Think about that for a second. Top 5 with less than a third of the race remaining, and then suddenly your car is done. He became the first car to head to the garage. That's heartbreak. That's what can happen in this sport. Green flag stops started. Reich pitted with 26 laps left. Blaney followed. Van Gisbergen came in a lap later. Anten Chaus. Ross Chastain, your stage 1 winner, spun off track because of a loose wheel that actually came off. Can you believe that? A wheel coming off? That's incredibly dangerous, and NASCAR had no choice but to throw a caution. He was held for 2 laps, and there are penalties coming next week. This sport doesn't mess around with safety. During that caution, some cars pitted, but Reich, Blaney, Van Gisbergen, and Zilisch stayed out on older tires. That decision, that decision shaped the finish. That's the kind of strategic call that separates the winners from the also-rans. Do you pit for fresh tires and risk losing track position? Or do you stay out and hope your old tires hold up? It's a gamble every single time. Now here's something interesting. Alex Bowman climbed out of the car feeling ill. Apparently he was dealing with some kind of illness that had him not feeling well at all. And Matt Snyder finished the race in the number 48 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. That's next man up. That's the reality of team racing. You've got to be ready when your number is called. On the restart, Van Gisbergen passed Blaney for second. This is what he does. This is why he's so dangerous. He finds a way to get by even when the odds seem stacked against him. Zilisch spun again in turn one. That was the second time that day. You can't make mistakes like that if you want to win. Zane Smith got caught up in that mess, and his day was basically done. Further back, Kyle Busch made contact with teammate Jesse Love, which sent Chris Buescher spinning at the exit of the final corner. This was a chain reaction incident that affected multiple drivers. But up front, this is what we wanted. This is what we came for. Reich versus Van Gisbergen, the veteran road course master against the new kid on the block who's trying to take his throne. Christopher Bell on fresh tires powered his way to third, but he never got to the front. He just didn't have enough to challenge for the lead. SVG closed in. You could see him stalking. You could feel it. Everyone watching was thinking, here it comes. Here comes the pass. But here's the thing. He never got the run he needed. Reich held steady. He stayed calm, he stayed smooth, and he made no mistakes. That's what champions do. They don't crack under pressure. And with 5 laps to go, SVG started to fade. Tire wear, dirty air, whatever it was, Reich drove away. He crossed the line nearly 4 seconds ahead. 4 seconds might not sound like a lot, but in racing terms at this level, with this kind of competition, it's an eternity. The final top 5, Tyler Reich. Shane Van Gisbergen for Trackhouse Racing. Christopher Bell for Joe Gibbs Racing. Ty Gibbs for Joe Gibbs Racing. And Michael McDowell for Spire Motorsports. Rounding out the top 10, Larson, Elliott, Blaney, Allmendinger, and Hamlin. 95 laps, 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 52 seconds. 3 wins, 3 races. And he said it best, beating SVG on a road course, the guy he's been trying to beat for a while, made it that much sweeter. Now that's where news number 2 comes in. And this is the part that's going to generate a lot of discussion in the coming days and weeks. Because apparently not everyone in the garage is just tipping their hat to Tyler Reich's accomplishment. Not everyone is congratulating him on a job well done. Some people are skeptical. And according to reports from sources close to the paddock, and I want to be very clear about this, Shane Van Gisbergen allegedly made some strong internal remarks questioning Reich's performance. These weren't public comments. These weren't things he said to the media with cameras rolling. These were reportedly private conversations with team members and close associates. But they leaked. They always leak, don't they? And what's being claimed? Let me break this down for you because this is important. Van Gisbergen is reportedly suggesting that Reddy's car might have an invisible aerodynamic advantage. He's questioning whether something is going on that we can't see with the naked eye. He's pointing to specific things. The cornering grip looks above normal standards. The straight line speed seems stronger than expected. The tire wear appeared unusually low compared to the rest of the field. There were even references to subtle aerodynamic tweaks that are difficult to detect, possibly strategically positioned ballast to improve weight distribution, superior stability on corner exit. Now let me be crystal clear about something. There is zero official confirmation of anything irregular. NASCAR has not announced an investigation. 23XE Racing has not released a statement. Nothing formal has happened. These were reportedly private remarks. But here's the thing, the mood in the garage, insiders are saying it's tense. And think about it from both perspectives. 3 straight wins, dominant performance at COTA where many expected SVG to control the day. Comfortable margin under pressure. When someone wins like that, people start looking. We start asking questions. Is this just frustration from a competitor who just got beat straight up? Is this sour grapes? Or is there genuine concern brewing? Is there something to this? As a fan, I'll say this: when you're making history, people are going to question you. It's just the nature of the sport, especially in the next gen era where everything is supposed to be so tightly regulated. The cars are supposed to be equal. The playing field is supposed to be level. When someone dominates like this, it's only natural that people wonder what's different, what's changed, what's working that isn't working for everyone else. But here's the thing, and I cannot stress this enough, unless NASCAR finds something right now, this is just talk. It's speculation. It's gossip. It's the kind of thing that makes racing interesting and creates rivalries, but it's not fact. Tyler Reich hasn't been accused of anything. 23XI Racing hasn't been charged with anything. This is all just noise at this point. What it does do, though, and this is undeniable, it cranks this rivalry up to another level. Reich versus Van Gisbergen is no longer just about road courses. It's not just about who can drive a technical track better. It's about pride. It's about legitimacy. It's about dominance. It's about one driver saying, "I beat you fair and square," and another driver saying, "Not so sure about that." And from a championship standpoint, Tyler Reich is sitting on top of the standings right now, looking absolutely unstoppable. 3 wins in 3 races, 3 playoff tickets basically punched already, massive momentum, confidence through the roof. If this stays clean, if the racing remains competitive and the cars are legal, we could be watching one of the greatest season starts in modern NASCAR history. But if this turns controversial, if there are questions that don't get answered, if NASCAR decides to look deeper into this, this could explode into the biggest technical storyline of the year. We're not there yet. We're not at that point. But we're watching the beginning of what could be something very significant. Either way, the early 2026 season just became must-watch every single week. And as fans, this is why we love it. The racing, the strategy, the drama, the rivalries, this is what we live for. This is what makes Sunday afternoons special. This is why we tune in, why we follow the sport, why we argue with our friends about who's the best driver. So what do you think? I'm genuinely curious. Is this just competitive frustration talking? Is Shane Van Gisbergen just upset that he got beat and trying to find excuses? Or is there something deeper here? Is there something to these allegations, even if they are not officially substantiated yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you all think. What side are you on? Are you Team Reich celebrating this historic start? Or are you Team SVG thinking something just doesn't add up? Or are you somewhere in the middle, waiting to see what happens? And if you love passionate NASCAR coverage like this, the kind of breakdown that goes deep into the racing, the strategy, the drama, make sure you like the video and subscribe to NASCAR Track News. We're a new channel building a real community of hardcore fans, and we're pushing toward 1,000 subscribers. Every single one of you matters. Every subscriber helps us grow. Every comment helps us understand what you want to see. If you're the kind of fan who watches every lap, who argues about strategy, who cares about this sport the way we do, you belong here. This is your home. This is where we talk about what's really happening, not just the surface level stuff. We go deep, we get into the nitty-gritty, we tell it like it is. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep the rubber down and the chrome side up.